Hi and welcome here to my channel. My name is Fabiana, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make these socks with heels, because after watching a few tutorials on YouTube I thought they were all really complicated, so I found a very easy way to make this part here of the socks, and I'm gonna be showing you in this tutorial. As you can see, it's shaped really well, and I'm gonna show you quickly how it fits on my feet, but it fits really nicely. So I'm going to be using it's just a little bit of yarn. You don't use 100 grams for both of the socks, okay? For these socks here, what I did was I used double knit size 3 yarn here and a size 4 worsted weight here, but this is only because my machine doesn't take worsted weight really well. So but you could, if you have an ADDI machine or any other Sentro that's not this one, you can use worsted weight yarn as well. I'm going to be using this beautiful double knit yarn and not even 100 grams, and another contrasting color for the heels and this part here and the top. So I'm going to start explaining now. All you're gonna need is a hook and a tapestry needle for this project. It is 2 hours project, and I would consider making a sample first. You can even use all the same color if you want. I'm gonna be explaining on the way how to use the same color if this is your first time, and also make a first sample so you can try it on and see if you need more rows in this part here or the length of your cuff as well, okay? I'm going to be using my Sentro 22, but you can be using any circular knitting machine with 22 needles. Okay, so to start making these socks, we are going to start on this side here, on the toes, because it's cinched and it's just easier, and then go up this way and then make the heel, and then make the cuffs to finish with. So I'm going to start casting on the tube mold of my little machine on the needle 1, the one right after the black one. Just leave a little tail, doesn't need to be much, and then cast on all the stitches. Put the yarn on the back there, on the back of the last needle and inside the yarn guide. And then now you can make from 4 to 6 rows. If you are using a different color, here it's 4, so you know. Here I made a little more, 6. I'll be making 6 now. Now I have a table, guys, on my website, and I'm going to leave the link down in the description below where you can see all the sizes, but I'm making for a US 7. Change this size every 2 numbers, so this would fit 7 and 8. For a 9, add 4 rows. For a 11, add 8 rows, okay? And the same if you're going one size down. So after this, I'm going to just cut this yarn. Make sure the last needle has the yarn inside, and then place the new yarn. So after you change the yarn, make a total of 36 rows for a US size 7. Change the yarn, simply place the new yarn in, make a full row with this yarn, and then you can either secure now, just with one single knot, and then after a few rows make the other knot, just so you don't make the stitches too tight or anything. And now count 36 rows. Now getting to row 36, what you're gonna do is cut the yarn if you are using another yarn. Place this yarn inside and then change to the other color of yarn. And work 2 extra rows with this yarn now. So at the end of row 2, we are going to start the heel shaping. We are right here now, on this row here actually, because you already made 2 with this. And now to do that, I'm going to prepare tapestry needle with a contrasting color of yarn. I just wanted to let you know that I finally released my book. It's on Amazon and it has 16 other designs that you can make all on your circular knitting machines. For this book here, you need either an ADDI King or a Sentro 48. With a Sentro 48 and all these 2 machines, you can make all these designs here. It has 8 types of sweaters and cardigans with all different types of cuts for the neck, okay? It's all explained in the book. Each pattern has its own video as well, so you can look in the pattern and you can also follow a tutorial on the video as well. There's a first pattern, which is this one that's for very beginners, so all the stitching as well is explained in the book, with a lot of images of how to work on the panel mold if you are a beginner and you don't know yet and you want to make your own garments at home, because it's so nice to be able to make your own clothes. That's why I wanted to share everything in this book. So make sure you go to Amazon, the link is down in the description below, and check my book out. It's really nice. And I'm going to crank for 10 stitches. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, or needle number 10. And then I'm going to remove this yarn, place this yarn in there. And then I'm going to crank the remaining needles without the yarn to release them off the needles, okay? We're going to work on the panel mold here. So crank all the way until you reach this needle black here, the black needle, and then just gently put this down. And before you crank back, because if you crank back, you're gonna have this one out of the needles before we secure them. So we are going to secure these ones first. This way with a tapestry needle, and leave these stitches live because they're gonna be seamed at the end. This is gonna be on the top of your feet. And then once you made all of this, we're going to start making our way back, so we can as well work with this working yarn here. Make our way back, remove the 3 remaining stitches. As you can see, this next one is still inside because we are going to work with this with these stitches here. And now that they are secured, you don't need to worry about them anymore. We are going to grab our little ball of yarn and then start working on the panel mold. Guys, I'm going to leave in the description and here as a card for you guys. If you can't work with panels, just make my panel video before making this, because there I explain everything on how to make the edges and everything else related to panels, okay? So I'm going to put the yarn down underneath here. That's the next nook after the needle that I'm working with. And then I'm going to be making 18 rows for this part here, okay? So it's 18 rows on the panel mold. 1, 2, 3. Make sure this first stitch is always down on the bottom, otherwise you're gonna have tucked stitches, okay? Okay, I'll come back with you when I have 18 ready. So I just made my last row here, row number 18, and at the end of this row, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast on the remaining stitches to start working the cuff part of this sock. So now I'm going to go behind the first one, like if I was casting on exactly the same way. In front, behind, in front, behind, in front. And in front of the black one and inside the yarn guide, make sure that black one grabs the last strand of part of the yarn, and then make the row. So I'm going to count 2 rows from the black one, okay, from where I started. So 1, and then the second row, 2, and then finishing this row, all you do is just cut the yarn, cut a little tail so it doesn't open, and then I'm going to place the new yarn, the other color in. Like if you were making this sock with all the same color, you wouldn't have to cut the yarn. I just had to cut the yarn because I was changing the colors really. Otherwise you don't need to cut the yarn at all. Okay, and then secure with a knot later. And then from here, we are going to work again on the tube mold. Make sure this, make a little knot here. So this doesn't open. Make sure that 2 needles work properly. Just put the loops down if they're not on the bottom of the needles, otherwise you're gonna have tucked stitches. So this is my second row. Okay, so I'm going to repeat this. I'm going to be making 26 this way with the first color and then 6 with the second color, and I'll explain this ribbing it's made after, okay? So go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back with you just to show you how to shape the heels and how to seam it and put it all together. And then after all these rows, cut a kind of long tail so you can bind off the stitches and put the tail inside there. And then make a full row without the yarn. And also I'm going to be making a knot here to secure this first. Make sure the stitches are tied. 2 knots just to secure it. And then make a full row without the yarn all the way until you reach this very first stitch. Don't make it yet because otherwise you're gonna drop this one here, okay? And then I'm going to remove all these stitches with my tapestry needle and a contrasting color yarn, because I'm not gonna cinch this side, obviously, because I need it open. Once you made through all of them, you can make this last one here. And then you always put your finger on the next one so it doesn't come out of the needles. So this is how our sock looks like when it comes out of the machine. And now I'm gonna show you, I'm going to get rid of my machine and I'm gonna show you how to put it all together. Now to shape these socks, what we are going to do first is start getting rid of all these yarn tails. To do that, make a knot I'm making 3 knots because this yarn is a little silky, so I'm going to make 3 knots each time. So one of them I'm going to hide this way on the same, always on the same color, and going both ways. So you go this way first and then the other way. Otherwise this will easily open. And then I'm going to repeat this to all my tails, always hiding them on the same color, otherwise you're gonna see it on the other side. And then just cinch the top. Just pulling as much as you can to close it up. And then just make a knot. For this I like to working sometimes with the metal needles and tapestry needle. Make sure it's closed and very tight, and then just make a second knot. I like to use a smaller hook, a smaller needle, just so it's easier to put through, but it's actually fine this way. And then make your way back for a few stitches. It's making it very secure because there's a lot of pressure on this toe part here. And then here, what I did was I made ribbing. So to make this ribbing, I'm gonna quickly show you here. And then pull this one as much as you can so that other side is smaller. And I'm going to start working on the one right next to where the tail is. I'm going to remove this security tail here, and then I'm going to just open this way until I have only one loop remaining with this color here. And then I'm going to remake it on the back this way. You can do this with any size hook, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure you pull them on the right sequence, on the right order, okay? Otherwise it's gonna be all twisted when you finish. Then remove the tail from this first one. And now we are going to bind off as well. So to bind off, what I want you to do, because we need a lot of elasticity here, otherwise the fit doesn't go in. We need to, as you can see here, the loops are very open. So to do that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to leave this first loop always very open like that. Okay, and then I'm going to go through the second stitch as well, because the second stitch I'm making a 1 by 1 ribbing. So this is a knitted stitch, this is a purl stitch that we just made on the back, and this is another knitted stitch. Okay, leave that first loop very open, very wide, and pull it through. You can leave this a little long so it doesn't open. Remove the yarn from here and then remake these loops again. Okay, so I'm going to be repeating this all around. I'll come back with you just to show you how to close this off, and then we are going to shape the heel after this. And then getting to the last stitch here, make sure the last one is also very wide and big. Just put the hook through this way and then finish like this. Now before you do this, I know this one fits me. I just want to see if they open the same way, okay? Make sure it will fit your foot before you hide this tail on the back. And now let's make this part here. You can make knots and hide all the tails you have. Just make sure you don't pull too much, okay? We need a lot of stretch in this part because this is gonna be this here, okay? So before I start shaping the heel, what I'm going to do is see where we cast on this back on the stitches to restart the cuff. What I'm going to do is through that stitches, I'm going to pass through another yarn tail. And this is just to make it easier for you guys to see as well. When you're getting used to this pattern, you don't need to do this anymore. I'm just doing this so you guys can see it properly, how I'm going to seam this. In a very contrasting color yarn, so it's easy to see as well. And make sure you grab all the stitches. This was the last one. Okay, so now that I have them all secured, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this yarn that's running through all of the stitches, and then half of it I'm going to pull this way, half I'm going to pull this way, and then I'm going to hide these tails as well, okay? Now fold your heel in half and then place the needle just like this. And make 2 knots with your tail. You can hide this now if you want. I'm just gonna leave it there for now. And then fold in half this way. And then I'm going to work on this stitch here right after the first one. Let me see here. So I'm gonna go through one now. I'm going to be making the mattress stitch. And then on the other side, I'm gonna go through one stitch as well. And then from now on, you can make 2. Can go through 2 of them on this side, and then 2 on this side. 1, 2, just like this. This is the mattress stitch, okay, guys? So I'm just going to mattress stitch both heels, both the side of the heel, here and here. And for these last 2 rows on this side, and then this last row on this side. And then now I'm going to swap to another stitch. From now on, I'm going to graft stitch to just repeat this stitch we had here on the top. We're going to be working on the top now. And then I'm going to pull this yarn, both yarns here, so they are easy to remove. And then depending on the side where you finish, you're gonna go to the other one. So I'm going to grab the next stitch here, which is this one here, and then the second one this way. I'm not gonna pull very tight this has to be a little loose. It has to follow the same size of the other stitches you have. And then I'm going to put here in this very next stitch, and this stitch should be right next to this other one here, like this. And as you can see, it's closing here the same way we had on the other side. And then now I'm going to this side here, and then the very next stitch. So each loop I'm going to seam twice through it, and then leave just like the length of the other stitch. I'm not pulling tight at all, okay? Once you made this a few times, it was a little hard for me on the beginning as well. You're getting used to it. So that's why I said just make a little sample for you if this is your first time making a sock, because just to, you know, arrange the number of rows you need and everything. Okay, so this is how it's looking like. I'm going to be doing this all the way to the other side. I'll show you when I get here on the, at the end of the heel, just to finish this off. Now, after you finish all the stitches, this is what you're gonna have. So we are going to go through this last loop here with the next loop on the heel already, and make a stitch, and the same on the other side as well. Get that stitch there and the next stitch on the side already, and go through it. And then now on the heel itself, we are going to matrix stitch in this stitch here. And then through this next two, and then just matrix stitch all the way to the end of this. So guys, this is the video for today. I'm gonna show you how it fits on my feet now for you guys to have a look. Make sure you make a few samples before you make your final sock. Maybe using, you know, yarn that's just scrap yarn at home. Because even though the knitting machine part is easy, this part took me a few times to make it right, okay? This part of the heel here, as you can see now, it's pretty nice. But it takes a while for you to get used to grafting stitch and then matricing stitch here. Guys, this is the tutorial for today. If you want to make a cover for your knitting machine, I'm going to leave this tutorial next for you guys to make covers for all your knitting machines. They work really well and they're plastic and very easy to make. Okay guys, so I see you in the very next tutorial. Thank you all for watching this, and thank you for being here. Bye.